Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Life as I See It with your hostess, Dina Nierenberg, and a very, very, very special guest star, Jana Gunusareva.
Thank you so much, Dina. It's always a pleasure to be here with you, talk to you. Thank you for inviting me again. Thank you.
My pleasure, darling. Anytime. It's always so much fun with Jana. It's sometimes like I go through my old TV shows, and I think the last time we did a show together was in October. And you get to reminiscing. You're like, wow, I had so much fun with this guest star, and so I invited Johnny back on. And yeah, wow.
Yeah, that's all. Our conversations are always so deep and always make me think, rethink, analyze.
Yeah.
Thank you for it, Dina.
Oh, my pleasure, Johnny. I actually had the entire morning in which to think. I was actually at the dentist today with what I thought was going to be a very, very casual cavity that wasn't really bothering me. But, my son's getting married next month, and I didn't want to be in Chicago and have like a whole flare up. I figured, check it out today. Get there, and the doctor's all, well, you have a root canal, and it's not just a root canal, it's a triple root canal. So it's a humongous deal. And besides, next to that, you have another thing happening. And I'm like, oh, thank God I decided to go today. So what did my doctor do? He's one of these guys who puts the oxygen mask over you. And when you have that the dental oxygen mask on, it puts you into a trance, like a completely and totally different state of mind. For any of you who've ever had the laughing gas, they call it, at the dentist's office, you feel like you're in another world, and it's a good world. You feel like you're have been taken off of this world as you know it and placed into another world that has nothing to do with ego. Now, what is ego? Ego is the part of our mind that contains all of our thoughts that we hold about ourselves and our beliefs that we hold about ourselves, such as I am Dina Nierenberg, I am a 40-something. These are my talents. These are my skills. These are my beliefs about my world and how things have to be. This is how I feel about myself and how I have to act and how I have to think. This is myself and how I feel I have to behave to be able to love myself. It's all of our conditioned beliefs about ourselves. These are our egos. But when you're under the influence of the laughing gas, it goes. None of that nonsense exists. It's an incredibly empowering feeling. And while I was under the laughing gas spell, I said to myself, if only I could hold on to such a piece of this for later when after the spell has, died down. And thank God, I was under the spell about an hour ago, and I'm still recalling some of what was going on during my laughing gas episode. I remember just not thinking, not feeling, not caring. And the thoughts were coming. I was like letting them go like puffs of clouds. It was this tremendously amazing feeling and so empowering. I said to myself, if this is what I feel now, why can't I feel this way more of the time when I'm fully alert and not under the spell of laughing gas,
That's very interesting, Dina. I know life put us in a certain box. We have rules from the childhood. Our parents want to protect us, and they give us advices. We call it discipline or whatever. There is a cultural rules, religious rules for our own success, probably, and they think happiness. But at the same time, society becomes so judgmental too, and we want to satisfy everyone. We want to satisfy our parents, we want to satisfy our neighbor next door. But are we happy in that moment of while we satisfying everyone around us? What are we feeling? It's an interesting question. It's just I don't know. I don't know if it's possible. If it's a deep spiritual work, mental, And probably we need a lot of confidence in our beliefs to act like that.
Great. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. I was thinking just now, it's all of our ego is actually conditioned. We are born with absolutely no ego. We are born with no ego. We are born all heart. We're born all spirit, all soul.
Yeah.
I have this, my grandson now, I just babysat for him last night, truly.
True.
He's only 21 months. He was running around like a little daredevil the entire night. He was upending bags of chips the whole night last night. And I was just chasing him around, having a great, fantastic time with him. I didn't scold him for anything, though heaven knows he made a lot of trouble. But just like, you could see the spirit in his eyes. He was free. A free little dude. And I would never in a million years want to change that about him.
Yeah, I know. It's like, isn't it lovely? I know. And they get hurt. They get upset. But it's for a second. It's for a second. Then they get up. And then they're happy again, and they're trying to make another step. But what we do as adults, we think, we overthink, we judge, we put guilt on ourselves, they're feeling guilty, and then it's like the whole process. But just to have maybe a little question for a second, and then switch back to normal, to happy mind. That's that would be probably a goal. I don't know. Maybe we can try, me and you. Like, we'll see how it goes.
That's the goal. That is our goal. Yeah, we make a tremendous switch from the time we're about, let's say, between the ages of 7 to 11, and then again between the ages of about 11 to 17. I'll tell you what the big switch is. To quote the very famous and fabulous Jean Piaget, he was a Swiss biologist turned psychologist when he had 3 children about 80-90 years ago. He was living with his children. He was actually, first of all, a biologist. He was very interested in how the environment affects our bodies, how you see, let's say, a loose animal and it scares you, and what happens to your body. And you go into fight or flight, that you can either fight the animal or flight the animal, you can run away. That was his first area of interest, this Dr. Jean Piaget, the Swiss biologist. But then he got married and he had 3 children. And suddenly he became very, very interested in his children and how the minds of his children changed over the course of time, and how his children's minds were affected by the environment. You see a loose dog, you touch a fire, what happens? You start to rethink, better not touch the fire. You fall down the stairs, God forbid. One time you learn, don't try to attempt the stairs. Kids are smart and they learn these things.
Yeah. There's certain instincts we're born with.
We're born with these instincts. So Jean Piaget, he also had what he called his cognitive developmental theory to talk about how our minds change over time. He said, okay, when you're a really little baby, you learn a lot through your senses, through what you can sense. You see, you hear, you touch, you taste, you smell. And, basically you're sitting in your infant chair or you're being held and you hear and see everything around you. That's step A. Until you're about 2. Then you're between the ages of 2 and 7, and you know how you are. You're very illogical. You don't really listen to reason or anything, and which is why you're so damn happy. You run around, you do your own careless thing, you make your little ends of trouble, and that's great. And between the ages of 7 to 11, you become more logical, in which you're able to get an education. Actually, you're willing to learn facts about life. You're willing to sit down at a desk. You're willing to learn, how the world is round and everything. How the world is able to revolve around the sun and all that kind of thing. Learn a lot of facts. But even so, you're only learning what they're teaching you. When you hit the age of 11 or 12, you come into a portion of your life called the formal operational stage, in which you start to do what we call analytical thinking. And that's when life starts to go downhill. And you start to do not just analytical thinking, which would be good if, educationally speaking, you're trying to figure out certain mathematical problems or scientific problems, but you start to overthink your own mind, and then enters ego. And your ego takes over, and it takes control, and it takes power. And your ego says, hey, there are rules to life and you must follow them. What are the rules to life? And basically you start to intake everything that you've ever learned from your parents and grandparents and teachers, and even you're starting to learn from your peers, how your peers think, and you start to take all of that in. And because you're able now to have this analytical mind, you start to overthink everything, and everything becomes an issue. And you start to think about your every movement, which enters self-consciousness, which is a major, major part of, adolescence. And actually, Piaget has a term for that called adolescent egocentrism, in which you become very, very self-conscious and everything bothers you about yourself. And you start to say to yourself, I did this. Oh, I messed up. I did that. Oh, I messed up. I did that. Oh, what will she think of me? She's going to think I'm some type of, barbarian. How could I say that? How could I mess up? How could I say the wrong thing? Everybody cares. Everybody cares. At the end of the day, you care more than anyone else cares.
It's necessary to find out the right way how to filter where the comment or critique is necessary and where it's just an opinion. Of course, if we misbehave, if we are hitting someone or we're stealing and someone tells us, you know what, it's wrong, it's actually against the Constitution, you shouldn't do that, then we understand, okay, that society doesn't want me to do that. I'm not gonna go into fights and I won't touch someone else's stuff. But at the same time, when one friend of mine, or another thing, mother's friend decides what career to take for you, and she's fully convinced that you have all the knowledge, the personality, a look to become a successful lawyer. And me personally, I was always interested in literature and something more sensitive, and I wanted to travel the world, learn foreign languages, German, French, English. I didn't want to become a lawyer. It's a sad job for me. No offense, I respect all lawyers, but it's not what I wanted to do for myself. But they would tell me the proofs why you can make more money, you will have a power, and which is a very important, apparently, to have a power. But what about joy? What about myself? But I'm thankful for my mother, who actually supported me and my wishes. And she did let me to go by the age of 15, study or go to school in Europe.
Yeah, far away, Yeah.
Yes. She knew that I'm not gonna do anything stupid. She had this connection with me. She knew how my mind works, and I'm thankful that she didn't listen to friends or anyone else, but she listened to me. That was probably what our goal is, to understand every single person, and without putting stamps on him, on her, whatever she wants to do, what's her goal is. By the end of the day, that probably what we need is to become good people, good person.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
It's other than that, find your direction, whatever makes you happy.
Yeah.
Of course, it's in a certain limitations. Again, if my son tomorrow will come to me and said, Mom, I want to join the army, I would be definitely terrified and scared for him. But I don't know, I would probably want him to do something else, more peaceful.
Yeah.
But that's, again, I think in your culture too, it's Dina, in your religion, that boy by the age of 13, he is responsible for his own
bar mitzvah. He's responsible for himself. Morally, anyway. That he still lives at home and he's still being taken care of, supported by his folks, yeah. But still, morally, he's in charge of himself at that age, at age 13. And that's why we make this great big celebration, But I've had these couple moments now to just now reflect on everything that you've said. And, I've been a professor now at Touro College since the year 1998, and I have loved every single second of it. Every now and then, though, it occurs to me, you're talking about lawyers, it occurs to me that because I love to study so much, and because I love to defend, and because I love to put on a great big show, I would have loved to have become like one of these courtroom defender lawyers and making all that money and gotten all that prestige. And then it occurs to me, it's not so much I would be afraid of the study. So I'm not afraid to study, Johnny. I mean, I've been studying for the past 49 years. But it wasn't my passion either. Becoming a lawyer was not my passion. Had it been my passion, I know I for sure would have gone straight ahead forward for it. Yeah. But it was never my passion. My passion was always to seek out the truth. And I felt that I could best seek out the truth by being not a psychologist, but a professor of psychology. Now, people all the time, they hear that I'm a professor of psychology, and they're all like, ooh, you're going to analyze me, you're going to try to find what's wrong, you're going to see deep, deep, deep inside me. I'm like, no. I'm not looking for that. I don't want to judge. I'm looking, mostly when I see you, for the part of me that doesn't judge. When I look at you, I just want to see pure soul, pure spirituality. I want to be able to completely and totally break free of ego. I want to break free of the part of us that finds a need to judge ourselves and to judge, our fellow person. I want to talk to everybody soul to soul. Yeah. To get down to the heart of the matter. To go beyond all and any barriers, to go beyond all and any limitations, any limiting beliefs that we may hold about our fellow person, and to just learn how to fully love, first of all, myself unconditionally, which I can do actually by loving everybody else unconditionally. I've learned that. I think that's pretty amazing. I tried to do the love yourself unconditionally thing, and that's been great, but it's also been a struggle. But I've discovered that I learned to love myself unconditionally when I learned how to love and practice loving other people unconditionally. Just loving people. They'll tell me something I don't want to hear and saying, you know what? I don't necessarily have to agree with you, but you're cool. Your very essence is cool. And then when I come back to myself with that, I'm like, hey, you know what? I find this one's essence cool and this one's essence cool. Maybe I'm really cool, because I don't want to be a hypocrite. I had this podcast called Your Life at the Top for a few years between the years 2017 and 2020. And one of the first things I said ever on Your Life at the Top was, I hate hypocrisy. I'm not going to sit here and tell you to love yourself if I can't love myself. So I'm going to work on loving myself. But what I learned from my travels and my dealing with other people is, the more I learn to love other people unconditionally, the greater impact it has on me, and I learn a life lesson about myself. You can't love unconditionally unless you love yourself first, and you can't love yourself first unless you're willing to love unconditionally. You see what I mean? It goes hand in hand. You can't choose one without the other. They work together. And I never once in my life have a day in which I have absolutely zero connection with other people. Even if it's just a phone call with somebody or other, they work hand in hand. You can't just say, okay, great, I love myself, I hate everyone else. It doesn't work that way, because as long as you're a hater, you hate yourself too. And, you look around the world, and as long as you hate everybody else, then you also hate yourself. So it works together. If you hate yourself, you hate others. And if you hate others, then you hate yourself. Love is unconditional. And that's the meaning of the word unconditional. You simply just love for the sake of it. You love for the sake of loving. But the ego doesn't want to hear about that. The ego wants to hear, I only love you if. Dina, I only love you if. And Johnny, I only love you if. And Tessa, I only love you if. But that's the ego talking.
Yes, it's true. And I know this from my childhood. I'm from Russia, and I was born in a small city, and everyone knows each other. So my parents we're extremely careful with my sister's behavior because you don't want anyone to say anything bad about your kids. And then there are hundreds of rules and so much of limitations. You have to go and live by a certain program. I'm so thankful that I moved to New York when I just decided to extend. Even Europe, I understand, was not enough for me. New York is just like definitely capital of the whole world, and the beauty of people with so many cultures and so many personalities, so many ways of seeing this life and feeling it, and understand, listen to them and hear them at the same time. It's a journey. It takes me. It's yes, but I love it, and I'm just hoping that with all these problems we're going through politically and health-wise, it's that we're gonna come to a conclusion that we are all part of one world. There are countries, there is a probably person in charge, but at the same time, we're not better than anyone else. We are as great as the others.
True.
And as soon as we understand that, and we'll start feel each other and love each other, maybe God will help us and we'll start living a peaceful life. But since we're going through these problems, it means we're still learning.
Yeah.
We don't, and unfortunately, people cannot learn in good circumstances. Sometimes we do, unfortunately.
I know.
We do need some troubles to understand.
So true.
Yeah.
It's so true, Johnny.
I'm thankful to you, Dina, so much. And when you say that you are not judgmental, and I agree with it, with like more than 100%. You're one of those people who are all. I've never heard anything actually bad from you towards others. You're always gonna find something little nice, and for me, from a culture with always that perfectionism and everything, and we are so critical. It's like a lesson for life, because we all have something beautiful in us, and if we want to criticize someone, we can find million reasons for it, but we shouldn't.
Right. What's the purpose?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, thank you, Tina.
My pleasure, Don. You know, it just holds people back when we criticize them. It just makes them feel like garbage. It doesn't help them to fulfill their role in life. We're not down here to just, decorate the earth, to populate the earth. We're all down here for a mission. Every one of us here in this room believes in God. We are all sent down here for a mission. We're all sent down here for a beautiful, beautiful purpose. Mm-hmm. When we elect to knock ourselves, when we choose to criticize ourselves, when we choose to, hurt ourselves and do self-attack, that's exactly what we're doing. We're basically killing ourselves. When you kill yourself, you cannot do your mission. But when we elevate ourselves and we elevate the people around us, we are enabling both ourselves and the people around us to do what we have to do in life, to accomplish our mission. Believe it or not, each and every one of us is born of a mission. We're not just down here to populate the earth, or to, create trouble, or to just to damage our fellow human being. We're here to uplift ourselves, and we're here to uplift everybody around us. Each and every one of us has our own individual task, but each and every one of us also has a collective task.
Right.
And that's what's so wonderful about being here on this earth. But also it gives us tremendous responsibility. And when we listen to our silly ego that loves to tell us a tale of limiting beliefs and guilt and anxiety and depression and anger and reasons why we have to be angry, we're just distressing ourselves. We are destroying ourselves. It's our ego that destroys us. It's very, very important to live moment to moment, to live in the present moment, to enjoy the present moment, to uplift ourselves in the present moment, but also to uplift everybody around us, our friends, but also random people. Honestly, people we don't even really know, but we see them in the street. Why not smile?
Yes, why not to thank them for the beautiful coffee they made for you,
100%.
or for a great service they provided. It's all, we are part of society, and I'm like you. I'm very extroverted. I cannot live without people. I need them, and they are so great to me. Why not to thank them for this? Just
It's true.
for being awesome and
Yeah.
loving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so interesting because when people ask me, are you an introvert or are you an extrovert? I always tell them, you know what, I'm an introvert trying to be an extrovert. But the facts are, I think you might be right. I think I'm actually an extrovert.
You're an extrovert. You love people, and you are. I cannot picture you without them. I think introvert is a person who is absolutely comfortable on his own, and it's fine too. I feel like they probably need just one person or maybe two maximum in their lives, and they deal comfortable with others, but very distant.
Yeah.
I would love to have as many friends as possible from all over the world with all the interesting things they can share with me, and I will probably like a sponge getting it and learning from each of them.
Yeah. I think it's my ego actually that told me that I have to be this introvert for fear of, upsetting other people. I said, better to become this introvert who doesn't really deal with other people than to be an extrovert and risk upsetting other people. But that's all ego talking again. That's all ego saying, well, you can't hurt anybody. What's the best way to not hurt anybody? Be an introvert. If you're an introvert, you have this great reason and this great excuse to never hang out with anybody because I'm an introvert, so I'm excused,
Yeah, but also it's a stamp. Maybe I'm wrong because it's also from one day to another. Maybe today you just wanna, what, that's it. I wanna be with myself.
Yeah.
And I'm not hurting anyone. I'm just like doing whatever is good for me. I feel like maybe I need to be recharged. Maybe I need to just to think, to make a decision on my own. But maybe tomorrow I'm gonna be the most extroverted person on the planet. I feel like, again, it's all stamps, and I guess
why do we have to name ourselves?
We all complex.
Very complex.
We're not simple people, and we change. And like saying I'm just this way, it's being a hypocrite.
It's all ego.
It's
saying
ego,
introvert, extrovert, introvert, extrovert.
Yeah.
We are ever changing, and that's what's really, really cool. I think it's the ego that tries to keep you in place, that tries to label yourself. Oh, I'm an introvert. I'm an extrovert. Oh, I'm shy. I'm outgoing. I'm angry. I'm anxious. I'm depressed. I feel guilty. I feel bad. I feel like I have to be angry at myself when I don't behave perfectly. But that's, again, to come back to the whole theme of the show, that's all ego again. I think that as people, we're ever fluid, and all of us have the soul within inside of ourselves that has to be free to roam the cabin, so to speak. You get on a plane, and in the first 20 minutes they tell you buckle up. There's so many different rules. They give you 1,000 different rules, and the stewardess is all like, put on your this and do your this in case of this, in case of this, in case of that. And just telling you what to do with yourself, what to do with the person next to you. But then, you're flying high in the air, and then there's always this announcement, and now you are free to roam about the cabin. Mm-hmm. That's how I see my own mind and my own soul. I'll give myself such a crazy hard time, and I buckle myself up, and I twist myself into these crazy pretzel knots. And then I say to myself, hello, you're free to roam about the cabin. Do your thing and do it your way. Chill out. Unbuckle the belt. Go to the bathroom. Feel free to ask the stewardess for an extra beverage. Chill out, relax, talk to your neighbor. It doesn't have to be the buckled up way that they tell you. I mean, obviously, physically it does when you're, trying to get up there. But once you're up there, chill out. You are down here on this earth to accomplish a mission. But you cannot do that if you're all buckled up inside and all in your own little world and I can't hurt anybody. I can't hurt anybody. I can't hurt anybody. Because then you'll never discover who you really are. and you'll never be able to help the amount of people that you could really be helping. You know?
Yeah. Yes, and that's okay. That's it was a beautiful example on a plane. But I think that's the whole life is like this. We're born, but our parents, like the flight attendant, they're gonna give you a bunch of the rules. If you wanna be this, you're gonna do this, that. But then you leave the house and you keep it. You'll be like, oh, my parents want me to do that, but like see how it works. They want me just to get only A's. I do what I can. But at the same time, so that's the reaction from parents has to be understandable as well. Not to put too much guilt on it, so grades and status and success, because it's, if we will be supported in all the ways, in all the directions, I think that's when the ego is not gonna be as strong. And most of the time we're actually pretending. Like we're going to the, it's so, everyone now is Instagram. Everyone still wants to show that they travel the world, they have the most successful jobs, their partner is the most beautiful athlete in the world, and the friends are just the celebrities. But they, by the end of the day, like what we're comfortable with, what we love. Do you love what you do? Are you happy there? That's fine. It's not, maybe, who knows, maybe I'll be more than happy to be a housewife and cook for my children, and I don't have to fake about it and tell them that I don't know, I married a millionaire, that's why I don't want to work. No, I don't want to work because I love that, or I'm going to work because I love it. It's just life is so complicated, but I wish we could, and we are very complex too. I feel like if we just gonna be not too harsh on ourselves.
True. Very true.
But at the same time within the Constitution, right?
True.
Without breaking any legal rules. And because most of the time we are guilty for stupid things. I'll be like, is my client happy today with the service? Maybe I skipped one mask, and I'll keep thinking and rethinking about it. My client maybe never even noticed about this mask and is super happy coming back again, but I will overthink about the stupid mask. Like, why?
Drop it.
Drop it. Like, you know, it's like,
that's
why? Yeah, that's
enough.
how enough.
Enough.
You know, I did what I could. I followed my heart. My intentions were good.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all.
Precisely.
That's all. Yeah.
Precisely. Yeah. So, ladies, this show is called Life as I See It with your hostess, Dina Nierenberg, and my co-host is Shari Ganusareva. Thank you so much for being on the show. You're the best. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, take care, and take care of yourselves. Take care. Bye-bye.